The David Jaffe meltdown continues, and he is getting completely and utterly roasted in the comments of his own videos. You cannot make this stuff up. I mean, the double down is what you expect. That's what SJWs do. They lie, they double down. And what is the third law? They project David Jaffe, SJW, wokest, whatever you want to call it, to a T. Let's get into this here. I roll this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. I also encourage you to head on over, become a paid subscriber, help us fight back against the woke ideology that is infecting our video games, movies, television, books, tabletop gaming, all entertainment. And it's just, we got to get this stuff out. We got to root it out, and we are going to put a spotlight on it. We are going to work to get it out, and we are going to offer you alternatives for you to enjoy that does not have this evil injected into it. So if you don't know what's happening, David Jaffe is really mad that Dragon Age: The Veilguard failed and that gamers did not purchase this game. He is claiming that so-called YouTube grifters are the reason why the game did not perform well, and he is claiming that YouTube grifters are somehow making games worse, despite most people that are commenting on games aren't actually developing these insidious woke video games like Dragon Age: The Veilguard. So unclear how they are making the games worse when you have people like this person who claims to use the name Corinne Bush. It's a man pretending to be a woman, injecting his gender ideology into the game. But Jaffe doesn't want to have that conversation. He'd rather just launch ad hominem attacks, which is what he has done to Vara Dark. So in a recent video upload to his channel, he said this: "You just don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. You're in that chair, Vara, because of your hair and your face and your gender. And that is fine, by the way. There's no problem with that. I don't deny anyone making money and building an audience off the things that they've got." So clearly being sexist, saying that the only reason why Vara is popular, has the audience that she has the people watching her, is because of her hair, her face, and her gender. And that is the textbook definition of sexism, clearly saying it's all because she is a woman. And that is sexist. That is what that is. That is how we as a society define that. And David Jaffe is trying to say that that's not the case. He didn't make sexist comments, but he's going to double down on his comments nevertheless. So in a more recent video, he said this: "Here's what I'll tell you, Vara Dark, and I clearly don't really here's what I tell you. Vara Dark and I clearly don't really vibe with each other. She doesn't like me. I said some mean things about her. They were not misogynistic. They were mean. They were intentionally mean." So you can already kind of see he's trying to play games here, right? He's being accused of being sexist, and now he's trying to say that, oh, they weren't misogynistic, because misogynistic means it's systemic. It's you think all women are that way, right? It's not just one woman. So he's already playing games, but he does say this: "I was not sexist to Vara. Stop the clowns," which I assume is a user in his a commenter responding to him during the live show. "I was mean to her. Trust me, I was worried because I knew people would think I was. I was like, I know people will think this is sexist or misogynistic." Like, he literally knows that. So he's admitting, I knew people would think this because I knew it was, but it's really not. And I was checking with women. He's literally like saying like, oh, I have a friend card. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Oh, I have the friend card. I have a friend card. I'm like, hey, watch this for me, because maybe I'm wrong, because I can be wrong. Everybody's got a blind spot. I would hate to think I actually would say something sexist or misogynistic. But in this case, I was like, I don't think it is. But again, I could still be wrong. Educate me if I am. But my understanding of misogyny, and then I don't know if he actually went into that in the live stream, but he cut it off in the clip that he uploaded. So if you actually have listened to any of this guy's stuff, he doesn't want to be educated. Hypnotic actually did call into his live show earlier this week, and the first thing that comes out of David Jaffe's mouth is like, sit down, shut up, and listen to what I have to tell you. He is not willing to listen. He wants to lecture you. This guy is one of the biggest, most dishonest liars I have witnessed in my life. And then he reacted to another individual. I guess her name is Popo. He says, so like the Popo says, you implied that she only has a channel and audience because of her hair and her looks and because she's a woman. And then Jaffe's like, that's not sexist. That's not misogynistic. That's me being mean to her. And saying the only thing, in my opinion, based on what I've seen of hers, that allows her to be able to do what she does is she is an attractive or semi-attractive woman talking to a bunch of nerds. Is it mean? Oh, yeah. Is it cruel? Of course. She was similarly in both of her previous clips the same to me. I mean, so this guy is totally immoral. This is not how we should be acting. You don't, even if you want to say that what Vara said was wrong, which I don't think she was just pointing out how utterly ridiculous this guy's arguments are and how just absurd they are and how they don't make any sense. And she did obviously take issue with him personally because he had previously attacked her, but you don't respond evil with evil. You're still committing evil. That's not how we should be acting. That's not how we react to people that are our enemies. We obviously oppose what they have to say because what they're doing is wrong, but that we pray for them. And we also potentially try to reach out to them, try to convince them, but we do so in good faith, in charity. Obviously, I think someone like David Jaffe, you probably are not, it's not worth engaging with this guy because he doesn't want to listen. He is completely closed. So it's best to just pray for him right now so that Christ touches his heart and hopefully maybe softens it. And then he actually does become willing to listen. Anyways, Jaffe goes on and says this, and yes, it dealt with her being a woman, but that wasn't me talking about women and like, oh, women can only do this job if, or I don't like or trust women. No one can look at my channel and suggest that's my history or that's the way I feel or any of my actions or anything. Again, he's trying to make this claim that being sexist has to somehow be systemic. It can't just be about one single person and specifically criticizing them because of their sex, which is what he did. And that's what sexism is. It's you criticizing someone based on their sex. It doesn't mean you have to, or it doesn't mean that it has to be you're criticizing multiple women based on that, or you like specifically don't view women, all women as that, whatever, right? Which is what he's trying to conflate. I mean, the guy's so dishonest. So it sounds more like what you're saying is you don't like it when someone swings back at a woman metaphorically, but metaphorically, I'll hit one all day because what do I care? It's the same thing. I mean, so just kind of showing you what his character is there. Very low person of low character, ill repute. He then admitted his comments were sexist, though, right? Like, you can't make this stuff up. You literally can't. You literally can't. He read another user comment. He says, if you said that about Laura Fryer, what you said about Vara Dark, that would be misogynistic because she has experience and insight. And Jaffe says, right. He literally admits that if he said that about this other person, it would be sexist. Like or misogynistic. He says, right. So he spends all this time saying that's not what it is. So someone says that if you said it about another woman who he like would seemingly appreciate because shares the same political views and disgusting evil ideology as him, that would be misogynistic because that shows this is all about power. This guy is going to lie. He's going to deceive all because Vara opposes his wickedness. That's really what it comes down to. And he wants to have power over her and wants to silence her because she is exposing his wicked agenda and his evil. And he does not want to tolerate that. Anyways, he goes on and says, or if I said that about Alana Pierce. So he's literally admitting if he said that about Alana Pierce, it would be misogynistic or sexist. So he's like admitting that that's what it is after saying that it wasn't. I mean, you like cannot make this stuff up. Cannot make this stuff up. He says Alana Pierce has a leg up in the content creation space talking to nerds because she is very attractive as just a visual attractive woman. But she's also talented, experienced, she edits well, she writes well, and she's got interesting insight into the business, both as a voice actress, as a writer now in the business, and as a journalist who worked at IGN. That's just a description of that particular woman. Now, you could argue that Vara Dark has a lot more going for her than her looks, and I'm sure some of you think she does, and that's fine. And I made it clear to say, in my opinion, based on what she said about me. I don't watch her content. She may be excellent, but based on what she said about me, and frankly, based on if you go to her page, most of her crap is just mean-spirited. Haha, F liberal tears, blah, 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 blah. Obviously didn't look at her live stream, doesn't see that she plays all those the games, etc. The guy's dishonest, right? He's totally dishonest. And he admits that what he said was sexist and misogynistic, but because it's directed at Vara and because Vara hurt his feelings, then it's okay. And because Vara opposes him politically, and he believes he opposes or she opposes him Ideologically, it's okay for him to say this. It's okay for him to lie. It's okay for him to sling mud. It's okay for him to be nasty. It's okay for him to be mean. It's okay for him to be cruel. It's not. It's not. It's a very wounded person. He's a very wounded person. He's trying to, and he's lashing out at Vara. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that he knows that he is a absolutely awful, terrible parent. So no one was buying what he was selling. You go to the comments on the video, they just roast after roast after roast after roast after roast. He was like a chestnut on the fire, getting ready for Christmas. One dude said, dude doesn't realize he's Chris Chan 2.0. Another mocked, hey there, mental heavyweight. Another said, Jaffe, you only sit in that chair because of your hair, your face, and your gender. Also, Jaffe, I was not sexist. Just completely, just destroying him. Dude had his feeling hurt and showed his true colors. Exactly. This guy did a whole psychological analysis breakdown. I thought this was the best comment. This was my favorite comment. It says here, here's an analysis of the post by David Jaffe using a framework of psychological manipulation, cognitive dissonance, and gaslighting with numeric rankings for each aspect. Psychological manipulation, projection. Jaffe projects his own insecurities or perceived criticisms onto Vara Dark, suggesting her success is due to her appearance rather than merit. 8 out of 10. I don't know how that's not a 10 out of 10. That's literally like what he said. Redirection. He redirects the conversation away from the substantive critique of his work to personal attacks, aiming to control the narrative. 7 out of 10. This is what this guy does all the time. All the time. All the time. Cognitive dissonance, defense mechanism. Jaffe's defense against accusations of misogyny by claiming his critique was not against women in general, but this is undermined by his personal attack on Vara's appearance, creating a dissonance between his stated beliefs and actions. 9 out of 10. Yeah. Don't believe what believe what I'm telling you, but not what I'm actually doing. Everything is okay here. Justification. He attempts to justify his comments by categorizing people into various stereotypes, which might serve to reduce his own cognitive dissonance by convincing himself and others of the validity of his viewpoint. He's literally lying to himself, right? Trying to justify to himself, lying to himself. Gaslighting, denial of truth. Jaffe denies the implication of his comments being misogynistic by redefining the situation, suggesting Vara's audience is based on her looks rather than her content, which could be seen as an attempt to make Vara question her own perceptions of reality. 8 out of 10. There are plenty of attractive women who don't make it, right? Like they don't make it because they're outed as frauds, and people sniff out the truth. Now, that's not to say it doesn't help. It clearly does. It also helps men too. Attractive men probably perform better than non-attractive men. But obviously, that's not always the case. Dismissal of experience. By calling Vara a mental lightweight, he dismisses any valid criticism she might have, potentially leading to self-doubt or second-guessing on her part. I don't think Vara's going to have any self-doubt or second-guessing. She's going to take this opportunity to roast him as well. I think she already has. Well, then we get the total ranking here. Psychological manipulation, 15 out of 20. Cognitive dissonance, 16 out of 20. Gaslighting, 16 out of 20. Overall total, 47 out of 60. And then we've got this summary here. This analysis indicates a high level of psychological manipulation and gaslighting techniques with significant cognitive dissonance at play in Jaffe's response to criticism, which 100% accurate. I mean, this guy's so dishonest. I actually think that he is worse than Alyssa Mercante because of how he uses all of these techniques to try to manipulate people. It is truly, truly vile stuff here. But we got some more here. We got this person posted, she only has a channel because of her hair and her looks and her gender. That's not sexist. Dude, you just said she only has a job because of her gender. That is textbook sexism. You didn't attack her character. You attacked immutable factors like her gender. How are you a grown man and not realize that is sexist? My boy, Minimal Effort Live, aka Tebow, who is a contributor at Phantom Pulse, he wrote this: by your logic, the only reason Alana Pierce has an audience is because of her looks. And Jaffe actually responded to that and realized that his response is like, he's like, that's not what I said. I specifically addressed Alana Pierce. And he doesn't realize that Tebow is literally like pointing out his hypocrisy. But this is the guy who's calling people mental lightweights. You just can't make this stuff up. And another wrote this: I hope when I'm old and gray in my 50s, I have better things to do than create petty internet beef with people half my age. So, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. I mean, just complete and total roast of this guy because he's a liar. He's a liar, and people were not being convinced by his lies. And I do want to play this one clip here that I actually did find from his live stream that I just thought was absolutely hilarious. I mean, remember, this is the guy who's calling Vara a mental lightweight. He's calling other people mental lightweights. And then just listen to what this guy has to say. So this is over on X. You can follow me at JF Trent. Listen to this right here.
Pattern between injecting identity politics into AAA games and the failure of AAA games with injected politics, or is that a coincidence? Historically, it hasn't been so in your face. I think you would first have to make sure the question is provable as fact. When you talk about,
you have to make sure the question is provable as fact. So says David Jaffe, the guy accusing others of being mental lightweights. You cannot make this stuff up. But let me know what you guys make of David Jaffe getting completely and utterly roasted for lying about his own comments, doubling down on his lies, and then clearly projecting his own insecurities, his own trauma on to Very Dark and others. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.